launched a series of initiatives to address climate change, served as a founding member of Cool Counties, and created the NACO award-winning Climate and Resiliency Department that coordinates countywide work to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, advance clean energy consumption, and build communities that are more resilient to adverse climate impacts. Championed the successful embedded social work program, which equipped law enforcement and 911 dispatch with another tool to improve outcomes for residents experiencing mental health or substance abuse issues. The program has achieved incredible results, including more than 7,500 referrals in 2024, which resulted in more than 5,000 connections to community services across 31 police departments and municipalities. Led the county's coordinated approach to housing by investing in the full spectrum of housing needs, from emergency homelessness response to affordable and supportive housing to homeownership programs. Led the county's crisis response and recovery operations during the COVID-19 pandemic and created Hennepin's incident command structure to navigate the early months of the pandemic, which included the immediate transition of 6,300 county employees to remote work after a declaration of local emergency by the county board, and ensured county functions remained operational to serve residents during that transition. Led the allocation and redistribution of $225 million in federal coronavirus relief funds and $245 million in federal American Rescue Plan funds to support communities and residents navigating the crisis, including COVID-19 testing, contact tracing, vaccinations and personal protective equipment, violence prevention efforts, food distribution, distribution of computers to families for internet connectivity, and improvement of connectivity infrastructure, tutoring for county-involved youth, job training and creation, maternal health, mental and behavioral health supports, and a national model in the Hotels to Housing program that housed those in need during the pandemic, and then developed county-purchased properties to create long-term housing solutions and rental assistance to landlords on behalf of tenants. Advanced small business relief and economic development support and revitalization, including the development of the Elevate Hennepin program to support entrepreneurs and business owners by creating a business support ecosystem to provide 25 hours of no-cost consulting and advisory services for residents that own or are starting a business. Whereas, throughout his career at the county, David was a trusted colleague, a mentor to many across Minnesota and the nation, a source of knowledge and expertise, a fierce advocate for the county, unflappable in a crisis, and always acted with integrity and in the best interests of the county and its residents. Be it resolved that the Hennepin County Board of Commissioners acknowledges David J. Huff's storied 43-year career and many accomplishments, honors his commitment and dedication to public service and to serving residents, supports him in seeking the next chapter of a fulfilling career in phased retirement, and wishes him good health and a long retirement.
This is just wonderful. So I know that you don't love attention, David, but every single whereas clause is hundreds of workers, thousands of residents. I just want to express that we wanted to take the time to just do a short, in some ways, understanding of the robustness of your contribution to Hennepin and to Minnesota, and really just want to express, again, deep, deep gratitude for the work that you do. So in a moment here, we will vote. We'll invite you to speak, and then we would love to take a photo with you. So for the commendation, colleagues, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, David Huff.
Chair and Commissioners, first off, as a triplet parent, we're triaging right now. Our daughter Nicole has to get to her healthcare work, and Lori is taking her, so they had to leave. And so I wanted them to hear what I have to say, but I'll give it to them later. So, wow. I'm honored, humbled, and frankly, speechless, which many of you probably would appreciate. Thank you for this commendation this afternoon. I am, as I said, overwhelmed. Thank you for all of you who organized and put this all together. It's no small task and a lot of significant work, and I'm glad, Maria, you're drinking water after reading that. This is so appreciated and thoughtful, so thank you. I've been with Hennepin County for almost 43 years. I've been challenged and grown as a person, as a leader here. I have loved working for this organization. Hennepin County has provided me with many opportunities, and for that, I am extremely grateful. I am proud of our mission, vision, strategies, and impact. The language in the commendation is illustrative of who we are as an organization, but more importantly, memorializes the commitment and accomplishments of thousands of Hennepin County employees who work diligently to help improve the lives of the nearly 1.3 million residents who call Hennepin County home. Team Hennepin is responsible for the work and accomplishments in the commendation resolution. We are unique in our role as a government organization. We don't just talk, but we do. We are not slow and bureaucratic, but we are innovative, courageous, and serve with integrity, compassion, and respect. We actually get things done in a fiscally responsible manner. I want to express my immense gratitude to the over 9,000 employees who do the work of Hennepin County each and every day. I want to thank our leaders who are the catalyst for change and progress. I want to thank you, the Hennepin County Board of Commissioners. You are the policymakers who lead and set the direction. I have appreciated your support, vision, and dedication to service, and your friendships. I want to thank my friends who have provided support over the years to me and wondered why I did this for so long. Finally, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to my spouse, Lori, as well as our 3 children, Nicole, Kelly, and Matthew's spouse, Sarah, for their support. You have always been there for me, and I love you all very much. And I'll tell Nicole and Lori and Sarah that later. I'm appreciative, proud, and gratified to have served. I have enjoyed working with colleagues to make Hennepin County a place where our residents not just live, but have the opportunity to thrive. I look forward to this next phase of my life journey, and I will cherish the memories, relationships, and collective impact we all have achieved in improving lives, creating opportunity, and as our North Star states, serving residents. As I have said, there is no greater calling than to serve others and create a better world. That is the Hennepin way. Continue to make a difference. I have a problem. So I want to thank you all for everything, and I want you all just to remember, we're number 1. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're not going to use that bat, are you?
It's about as tall as us.
Can I just take one more? I'm sorry.
Okay. I don't know. It's as silly as David gets.
Next on the agenda is the minutes from the previous meeting, 5A. This is the July 29, 2025 meeting, moved by Commissioner Lundy, seconded by Commissioner Conley. Any notes or corrections to the minutes? All those in favor of 5A, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 6 is referral of correspondence and department communications. 6A through C are correspondence, and 6D to 6N are department communications. May I have a motion to accept and refer as recommended?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioners Anderson and Gotel. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7 is Commissioner communications, for which we have none. 8 is the claims register, 8A for the period ending August 1, 2025, 8B for the period ending August 8. May I have a motion for both, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioners Edelson and Conley. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9 are consent items. These are items that would have passed unanimously out of committee. May I have a motion for 9A to 9S, please?
So moved. Gotel.
Thank you, Commissioners Gotel and Green. Colleagues, any items that you'd like to note prior to voting? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 10 is non-consent. These are items that would have passed out of committee but not unanimously, for which we have none. 11 is a progressed agenda, items that would have progressed from committee to board without a vote, and we have one. 11A is the County Board Governance of Hennepin Healthcare System, Inc. I'll move it. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Gotel. Ms. Wentland.
Chair Fernando, Commissioners, you have in front of you today a board action that recommends modification to the current governance of Hennepin Healthcare System Incorporated, HHS. As you know, HHS is a vital safety net and teaching hospital providing essential healthcare services to our community, including a nationally recognized Level 1 adult and pediatric trauma center. The county and HHS have long shared a goal for HHS to be financially self-sufficient, with the county providing funding for uncompensated and undercompensated care for county residents. In recent years, however, the Hennepin County Board has needed to provide additional funding in an effort to address HHS's financial challenges, including an additional levy point passed last year to provide $10 million more for uncompensated care. Recently, the County Board approved $15 million in additional funding to make critical medical equipment purchases for Hennepin healthcare facilities. Since HHS was formed in 2007, the county has invested hundreds of millions of dollars to support the system's operations, plus tens of millions of dollars has been provided for capital investments and supplemental Medicaid payments. Despite significant efforts at HHS and additional financial support from the county, HHS's financial condition is now unsustainable, with operating net losses for several years. This situation has been exacerbated by recent federal legislation and anticipated funding reductions, putting HHS at risk of financial failure. In response to these challenges and in light of HHS's current financial crisis, County administration is recommending the County Board take proactive steps to be directly involved in stabilizing HHS's financial condition and ensuring its long-term viability. Hennepin County manages a broad healthcare portfolio that includes North Point Health and Wellness Center, public health clinics, and its own health plan. We're prepared to utilize the knowledge and skills developed managing this portfolio, along with other professional services, to protect the hospital's future and the services it provides to our residents. This board action request before you recommends the removal of the entire corporate board of HHS, allowing the county board to resume interim management of the healthcare system. It affirms the current subsidiary corporate structure of HHS and demonstrates continued commitment to working with HHS leadership and staff during this transition to ensure operational continuity. The bar recognizes the dedication and the hard work of HHS employees at all levels and vocations, and their importance to delivering critical healthcare services for Hennepin County and Minnesota residents. The action directs the county administrator to prepare recommendations regarding any necessary transition plan. This action will enable the county board to provide immediate oversight, support, and direction to HHS during this critical period. It will also ensure that we can develop and implement a sustainable financial plan in collaboration with HHS leadership and staff. In conclusion, this recommendation aims to secure the future of Hennepin healthcare systems as a vital healthcare resource for Hennepin County and Minnesota and beyond. Myself and representatives from our legal and financial teams are available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wetland. So, colleagues, before us, we have an action. We do have staff that are present if there are questions. So I thought we would do discussion on the action as is, and then I'm aware that there may be amendments proposed. So let's first open up for just general discussion. Anybody interested in speaking generally? Go ahead, Commissioner Goodall.
You know, I just want to say that we have heard from a lot of folks out there commenting one way or the other, in favor or not in favor, and that's fine. I think that your opinions and your voices need to be heard. These are very trying and challenging times for us right now. I think one of the biggest messages that has come, well, there's a couple. One of them is that community, that we want to make sure that we're transparent with our community and that our community has a voice. So as I look at this and I'm in support of this, I'm going to ask our task force to make sure that we have a community board that has eyes on this, that has a voice at this, that can guide us to make sure that the community is well represented. And I have heard that we want to keep that's a very valuable thing. And when I talk about community, I want to talk about it in the broadest sense of community. We serve everyone in Hennepin County and outside of Hennepin County. And so the other thing is I know that there's concern, we're a research hospital, that we would lose that. The reason why we want to stabilize this hospital is we don't want to lose that. That is a vital part of who we are and who we bring up. If you go to any of the other systems and you go talk to the doctors, and I've been visiting with them, a lot of them got their start in Hennepin County. They may not be with us now, but they have, a lot of them have been in Hennepin County's hospital at some time, either as a researcher or as a doc or as an intern, all those things. We have a huge impact on this community. I want to make sure that we continue that impact.
Thank you. Further thoughts? Commissioner Edelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I support dissolving the board temporarily. And I have an amendment if we get through, if everybody else wants to speak. I have a few different amendments. I support it because currently the flow of how the board is working with the Hennepin County is not working for the public. When I first came here at the legislature, I supported the legislation that would require more transparency for us to dissolve this board. What has happened is the hospital is in a very bad financial state, and we're in a situation now that the relationship cannot be repaired quick enough to save the hospital. So I support the idea of doing this temporarily. What the problem I have with which is why I'm bringing an amendment, is under our resolution, it says interim. The first be it resolved clause says interim. And I do not know what that means. At the legislature, if we didn't know what that meant, we would ask for a definition. What does interim mean? What is the intent of our board when we say interim? Is it a year? Is it 2 years? We're going to be hiring consultants. I imagine this is going to pass today. But I said very clearly to some of my colleagues that I cannot support this resolution unless we have a date. If that comes, I have 2 different options that I'm going to provide the board with, and I'm happy to circle back once we get there.
Thank you. Commissioner Lundy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I first want to, thank the board and staff. I think this is, hospitals nationwide are having challenges. It's a reflection of a broken healthcare system where the money is frankly in the wrong spots. It's not with the people who need care, and it's certainly not with the people delivering care. And so I know that we are endeavoring to do the best that we can. I think one message, was that we are not going to let this hospital fail. I think earlier this summer there was talk about it may close, that there are conditions that may require other things, and I just want to say that we are stepping into this work. We're not stepping away. We are the only entity that can bring revenue to the table. That is not something that us up here take lightly, because we have to take money to give money. And so we take that responsibility on. I look forward to hearing about the amendments. I think that, today is just a step. It's not a celebration. It's not a endpoint. It's really just the work begins. But one thing that I, as talking with many people, have been struck by is the idea that governance and finances are separate. They are 110% together. Your budget is a definition of what your priorities are. And so the idea that somehow these things are not the same, if you are not putting money behind governance, you are not creating policy. Everything I've done, whether 4 years as a council member, 10 years as a mayor, now 5th year as a commissioner, has involved money. Everything that action we have taken talks about public money going to purposes. There's nothing that I've ever done that doesn't involve spending money that isn't mine, that we collect from people, whether they like it or not. And we have to own up to that and make sure that we deliver on that. We need this hospital running. We need it delivering on its core mission. And I think the story we need to start telling people is this hospital isn't just about Minneapolis. It's not just about Hennepin. It's not just about the metropolitan area. It's not just about this state, but it's other states that send people here. People that may get in a farm accident in North Dakota may end up at our hospital. And so when you have that kind of weight, we owe it to tell that story, to make sure people have shared vision on supporting it. And I'm here today for that first step to move to dissolve the board. I will be supporting that, knowing that that just is the beginning of the work that we need to do.
Commissioner Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I think we are all in incredible agreement that HHS is so important for the care and well-being of residents in Hennepin County, the metro region, the whole state, truly the whole north central United States. From its Trauma One facilities, the emergency care to family practice to safety net service, HHS operations are irreplaceable, and its viability is of utmost importance. And also, even that doesn't begin to describe the partnerships that are currently in place and are possible with the county and with human services here. We have 2 issues at hand. One of them is the financial viability of the hospital, and the second is the governance structure that meets the needs of HHS, the community, and the county board. To the first item, the ongoing financial viability of the hospital is in question. The hospital leadership has publicly projected a significant budget shortfall, and we're all acutely aware of looming federal cuts. As the bar said, when it was being read, I starred, HHS faces a real risk of financial failure, which would have a devastating impact on healthcare access for Hennepin County residents and regional and statewide health systems. For us as commissioners, the buck stops here. We have to get closer to what's going on, remove layers of reporting, sometimes ambiguous, to stay as close to this as the challenge requires. As Commissioner Lundy just said, we're endeavoring to do the best we can. From a governance point of view, the relationship between HHS and the county board, as written in statute and made real by good people in elected office and generous and good and talented community members. And I do want to thank those people and underscore that their continued engagement is invited, it's needed, it's welcomed, and it's appreciated. This is not to make any of that go away or to underscore the value of that. But that relationship is fragile, and it has taken some hits. And if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to keep getting what we're getting, which is a little unsteadiness, a little bit of upheaval. It's time to look at the structure of that relationship to see ways in which it can be structurally improved, or can it be? I think that's a question I know, as I have enumerated up here before, I have sort of biases about what might come next, and that maybe it'll look very similar to what we have now. But I think that we've got to ask ourselves the question, and I commit to coming to this with an open mind. My support for this measure represents to me the responsibility that we were elected to exercise as county commissioners, to establish and maintain the best and most robust services for county residents, and to proactively ensure the provision of services without interruption into the future. Should the county board vote today to establish itself as the interim hospital board, working closely with hospital and community leadership to navigate this time and to maintain HHS as an incomparable healthcare resource, that is what we need to do.
Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate this motion, and I also am supportive of the action. I very much agree with Commissioner Edelson that we need to have a timeline, or at least get to a timeline that we can understand when we are going to put this back into a permanent governance structure. Whatever that might look like. And I also want to thank everybody who has reached out. I've heard the concerns that have been expressed about losing expertise, that it's about politics, about us moving too quickly. But the fact is, in our current state, there has been discussions publicly about hospital closure, that the cash situation at the hospital is perilous, and stability is currently declining. Now, I grew up in rural Minnesota. My mom's a nurse, and we have all seen what happens when hospitals close, when care gets further away, when emergencies become tragedies, and communities lose their lifeline to support and services. And we cannot let that happen here. Now, this can't be about politics. We need to make sure that this is a temporary emergency step to stabilize HHS, to keep the doors open and hand it back to an independent board. Waiting just increases the risks of losing the hospital altogether. And acting now is going to protect that access to care for everyone in Hennepin County. Now, I know, and we all know, that you cannot fix a hospital once it's already closed. And so this is our chance to keep it open, and we are going to do whatever we can to get there. And in the time after this, I will also have a recommendation amendment to the action to provide some reporting through this process so that we have information to share with the public so that we can be transparent, because I do believe that transparency is of utmost importance as we go through this process.
Commissioner Conley.
So thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, everyone who reached out to me personally to share their feelings, thoughts, and opinions about this decision. And I want to be very clear. This is us doing our job, our obligation as public servants in an emergency. So we heard urgency, we heard the emergency need. We don't have time to wait on this. And I'm going to be very candid here. I am thankful that we have people that step up to sit on boards, to be public servants, to be a part of the change of very large organizations, small organizations. What would those organizations be without the volunteers who step up to help steer the ship in the direction that it needs to go? In this instance, I want to make a clear separation. This is not about the board. This is not about the corporate board right now. Right now, this is about stabilizing our only safety net Trauma One center, our only hospital. HCMC in the region needs to be stabilized immediately. And that's exactly what this bar does. And I will even move further to the resolving clause that states the county board directs the county administrator to prepare recommendations regarding any necessary transition plan, including a transition team. And to me, that's important because that gets us beyond dates. Commissioner Edelson, I know you have options today for dates for a future corporate board. We talked, thank you for the opportunity to talk through kind of what that meant. And I had a chance to think about it over the weekend. I don't think we need to put dates in here because what I think is this resolving clause gives us that. It may not say August of 2026 or July 2026. I want to make room for this team of experts to be able to determine that. Right? We don't know how long it will take us to get to financial stability for this hospital. I think putting actual dates in here takes away from the work that the transition team that is created because of this original bar will be tasked with doing. This includes a communication plan for transparency to the public. It includes meeting dates through 2025. There are measures in this board action that include transparency, that includes us getting to where we need to be, and that's first and foremost. Reestablishing a board comes second to me. So I am fine and highly supportive of the board action as written and thank administration for putting in the work to create an action to vote on that includes this strong background, that fiscal history, what we're up against, the headwinds, and what we're going to embark upon should this approve today. So I think that it's fine as written and it gets to the emergency that we're in right now. We do not have time to wait. I've told legislators that. I've told my neighbors that. I've told anyone who's asked me that we're in trouble. And I refuse, as Commissioner Anderson mentioned, I refuse to let this hospital close. I refuse to let it close. I refuse to let the concerns of staff that work at this hospital selflessly go unheard. I refuse to jeopardize patient care at our many, many clinics. And the only way that we're going to get to stability is through this board action as written. I support it as written, just like I did last week, like I did a couple weeks ago. This is the right way to go for us right now. It's the right step. Interim means temporary. I don't think there's a desire to maintain management of the hospital on this board. I don't think there's a desire for long-term management of this hospital. There is a desire to save it, and there is a desire to, secondly for me, reestablish a board that is the right fit for the hospital. And the transition team will help us get there. So I wanted to state that on the record before any amendments get moved, but just know that I am someone who supports this right now for the right reasons. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. So before we get to amendments, I know a couple colleagues have mentioned that already. I'll just share a little bit about my remarks and experience. This is not a joyful action for me. This is pretty heartbreaking. The last public safety net hospital in Minnesota must remain open. It must be a vibrant place where people feel safe receiving care, where people recommend to others that they should receive care there. It should be a place where workers can grow their families and have a sense of stability because of the incredible public service that they all and you all are doing. Many people know I am a kid of immigrants, and my mom worked at a county hospital in LA County for over 4 decades. And so without knowing it, before I knew about county leadership, I was impacted by the stability of a county hospital back where I grew up. My mother-in-law worked at HCMC for 4 decades as well. And so this is a deeply, deeply personal experience. So I want to begin with that because there's been many ways in which I've been characterized and certainly a lot of feedback that I've received. And I thank everyone for taking the time to share your perspective with me and my colleagues up here. The other aspect is, as Commissioner Conley said, this action is about the hospital, and I and a handful of commissioners over the nearly 20 years of HHS's existence, just a handful have had the privilege of getting to be an HHS board member. I am an HHS board member. I joined in 2020 prior to the pandemic. I have seen interim CEOs, permanent CEOs, lots of task forces, very, very large board packets. And I have been very, very proud to be on the HHS board and to receive feedback and ideas from workers. And also it has been, painful to share in residents and workers' pain when they share that with us as well. So this action before us, for me, is a necessary step in this moment. There is never one specific moment that kind of crosses over. But for me, it was on June 12th when we learned of an operational risk of closure inside this year. And as my colleagues have said up here, as people have expressed over and over again, HHS must remain open. Hennepin Healthcare System, Inc., HCMC, whatever you call it, vital service to all of Minnesota and the region. And the financial responsibility to ensure that it remains open does reside on this dais. And so for a period of time, I understand it's not as defined, for a period of time, these 7 individuals, should this item prevail with a supermajority, it's 5 votes in favor, the 7 members up here would become members of the HHS board. So I want to kind of clarify that. That's been an aspect of discussion. And so from my perspective, whether it's on the county board dais or through HHS board meetings, the 7 of us will have many opportunities to shift transparency, to increase accountability in actually any manner we kind of wish. It's no secret that I have wondered why HHS finances are protected by statute for competitive purposes. It's not a secret. And so transparency, when we are the members, is up to us, and we get to decide what that looks like. And so for me, I will be supporting this action as is. The last thing I'll say is a lot of feedback around how fast this is. It has not felt fast to the county board, I don't think, or at least to myself. I've had the privilege of serving on the HHS board through the pandemic. And in 2023, from a county board perspective, we were alerted to really pronounced financial strain. Why that was so alarming in the year 2023 is because this board had nearly doubled its financial contribution, and the Medicaid directed pay program had already started. So at a time with increased financial support locally and via state and Fed action, the numbers have not improved. So for the benefit of every single resident who's ever accessed HCMC and HHS, in preparation, unfortunately, for the unquantifiable number of people who will lose their care, we got to stay open. We have to have everybody's back, and the way to do it is to temporarily have operational oversight of this incredible organization to ensure that its mission and its impact are unwavering in a time of really, really pronounced resident need. So with that, we've all had a chance to chat. And so for those watching at home, maybe this is your first action. A really kind of cool thing is something called open meeting law. And that means that we are not deciding important actions like this in private. We are meant to be in public. So our remarks up here are maybe even, we're sharing it perhaps for the first time with other colleagues. So we've spoken to the action as proposed by Administrator Wentland. And now we'll move to amendments. And I know Commissioner Edelson wanted to offer an amendment.
Madam Chair, I have two, but I'll start with the R1, and I'm going to pass it down. And I'll read it for the public so that they know what I'm proposing. So the R1, it is an amendment to the current resolution that we have before the committee. So what it says is, be it further resolved that the board directs the county administrator to bring forward a board action resolution request before August 31st, 2026, so a year from now, to reestablish the corporate board, which is a public corporate board. I want to be very clear. This is a public hospital. It is a public corporate board of the Hennepin Health System, or Hennepin Healthcare System, to return governance to Hennepin Healthcare System, to reestablish the board. So I just to this, I want to just talk about this for just a moment and what I'm thinking here. It's really hard if you don't have a goal post to work towards a goal. So yes, 100%, we all agree. We have to financially stabilize the hospital. But what I worry about is in that financially stabilizing the hospital, that's critical. We all agree, clearly you heard from everybody, that we want to save the hospital. Agreed. Governance might look different. Now, reestablishing the corporate board might look different in a year from now, because maybe we're going to bring in a consultant. We're going to have this transition team. That transition team might request some things that are different. Could we say by that August 31st date that I put here that we want to have that governance look different? We could, but what we are is we're signaling to the public and to the hospital and to everyone, hey, our goal is by August 31st, by next year, that we're going to have more answers. And if Commissioner Jody Wentland comes and says, you know what, we're not going to be ready, we need to delay this, we're going to move that, we could do that. But I think right now when we pass something like this without, interim does mean temporary, Commissioner Conley, but temporary to what end? I want to be very clear that I do not know how to run a hospital. When I ran for the seat, I did not think we were to be resuming as the hospital board. We have to be experts. There's no equivalent to the legislature here, because we're like a board of governors and we have a lot of different sections that we have to follow and track, whether it's transportation, human services. Now we're going to add a hospital. It's a lot. It's a lot to know. And so can we deep dive like we do at the legislature? Not always. And so I just am realizing the limitations that we have. And so with this, I think it would be very nice that we expand interim with the intention that it would be 1 year and to August 31st, 2026. And I'm happy to hear feedback.
Thank you, Commissioner Edelson. I think it might be easier to just move amendments. So would you move this amendment? Oh, I recognize the motion. I'm going to
move it, yes.
Yep, I'll second the amendment. So then we'll discuss and then we'll vote just on each amendment. And for those watching at home, simple majorities, so 4 votes in favor will mean an amendment makes it into the action. And then we will vote at the very end for the full action. So to the amendment, Commissioner Gotell.
First of all, thank you for thinking about this so deeply and caring about, what we do. And I don't think any of us intend to want to have to do this job for a long period of time. And you're right, we're not hospital experts whatsoever up here. But we are good decision makers, we're good policy makers, and I have a lot of faith in a transition team that will put together, that will guide us to a really great outcome. I'm uncomfortable at this time in looking at that exact date. And the reason being is because I know in the middle of the year next year is when all the Medicaid cuts come. And I'm hesitant to do that, but I would propose that at a future board meeting, when this passes and we are the board directing this, is asking for a timeline on a great many things. And to put something more concrete for them to give us, because it's not just this date that we should be looking at. We should be looking at, how are we doing community outreach at community board? How are we looking at all kinds of operational things? How transparent are we going to be with budgets? There's a lot of things we would like to see. And I think we would ask that team to make sure that they're doing those kinds of things. So at this time, I don't want to support an exact date on this, but thank you for thinking of, diving deep in this.
Commissioner Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioner Edelson, for bringing this forward. And I know that thought and research and conversations that have gone into this, so I appreciate that. As others have said here, perhaps actually even Commissioner Edelson, we're not hospital experts. And my challenge with the amendment is that with a specific deadline, I feel like we don't know what we don't know. And further in that vein, while I'm currently a proponent of a corporate board, which your amendment also names, I am trying to approach this process with an open mind because, again, I don't know what I don't know. I would be interested in language that was more giving. I like the idea of giving a deadline because I do think that we have stakeholders who are watching us. And while I appreciated, Commissioner Conley, you drew our eye to the second to last, be it resolved clause. That works for me. And I also am open to the idea of language that works for a broader audience. But for me, it would need to be something like setting a date by which we will get a date, by which we will reinstate alternative leadership, and not specifying what that alternative leadership is, because I do want to convey openness to outcome. So thank you.
Commissioner Conley.
Thank you. And now that the R1 is before us, Commissioner Ellison, thank you for again, thinking of the date. For me, this is, if this read that the board directs county administration to present a plan for financial stability, right? Then all in, that makes sense. I don't want to put a date on it, but that's number one. But then again, let's go back to that resolving clause, Commissioner Green. Ms. Wentland, would you be willing to speak to the potential makeup of the transition team that we've referenced? What does that look like? What type of expertise are you seeking on that, et cetera? Thank you.
Chair Fernando, Commissioner Conley. In regards to the transition team will reflect Hennepin County team members as indicated with experience around financial, legal guidance as we think about the needs of the organization. It will also include bringing in consultants who have extensive background in healthcare leadership, administration, finances. It will also include partnership with our hospital leadership team and the expertise that they bring. And so that team will be a multidisciplinary team that's going to come together with the clear focus of addressing the financial sustainability, stability of Hennepin healthcare systems, and also with that expertise, legal expertise, guidance, and just conversations in regards to what is that future governance needed to assure that Hennepin healthcare system is a long-term, strong, thriving healthcare system.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, I think that's why I want to stay away from hard dates, even if they're flexible. I want to give this team, considering that it's made up of experts who know how to run a hospital, the time that they need to develop a plan for stability, long-term stability, and what a future potential board could look like. So I want to make space for that, and I feel very strongly that putting a date in here to do that would be working against what that team is set up to do, or will be set up to do, should this pass. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Lundy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I share the concerns about having a hard date because as we don't know what we don't know, and I'd rather get into the mix and do that. I think the commitment is there. I do want to say that I don't know how to build a bridge, but I know people who do. I don't know how to tackle disparities, but I know people who do. I may not know how to do embedded social workers. I may not know how to do mental health services, but I have people that know how to do that. I believe our job as commissioners is not to act like we're the experts, because I can give you thing after thing after thing. But within our staff and with the people that we can bring to bear, we have people that fit those roles. I bring expertise on specific functions that we know we have confidence in. We have a person who's retiring after 43 years who I would say, if you added up his time, would be more than all of us up here. But we have people like that depend on, who give us advice and put their best foot forward and say, this we think will work, and here's why, and board, would you adopt that? And I think that's something that we do consistently, constantly, and never once have I ever felt like I needed to be the smartest person in the room, because I have a bunch of smart people that surround us and can provide guidance and expertise, and I want to use those people. In that way, I do think we are smart, because when you don't know things, you go find the right people. We have people at the hospital that have great ideas. I've talked to staff who have great ideas. At every level, I feel like there's a wealth of information and knowledge that are ready to bring bear on this, that people have said, here's why we could do things better, and here's where we could do this better. And I actually feel in some ways excited by the opportunity to watch those people grow, be kind of let loose on this challenge. And I want to be there for the ride, because I think there's some really awesome things that will be done that are going to keep this hospital here delivering the services. And I think, Commissioner Anderson, you talked about it. You talked about rural areas, losing hospitals. And just what does that mean when you don't have a hospital? I grew up in an area where you had to drive 60 miles to get to the nearest hospital. So if you were an emergency, it was 60 miles, that's 60 minutes. So we have an opportunity to really put the stamp down and say, this is important, and we're going to stand up for it. So I won't support this. Commissioner Edelson, I know you had an R2 that I'm interested to hear that as well. But thank you.
Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would support this. I like the idea of having a date, and like I've done the counting. I know it looks unlikely to prevail, but I do like the trying to put a stake in the ground of saying, like, we need to have answers by X date. Whether it is to put it into a corporate board governance structure, whether it is to have it in a new governance structure. I think, Commissioner Green, to your point, we don't necessarily know what we don't know, but I think putting clear goals in front of us to get to those goals is an important step in moving that way. I'll also say, like, a year is a long time. Like, it can go by really fast, but it is a long time, and there's a lot that we will be doing in the next year to make sure that the hospital is stabilized, so that we don't find ourselves in this way. And I have a lot of hope that we will find ourselves in a position within a year to be able to say, great, we've made this progress on stabilization. Let's make sure that, knowing what's coming at the federal level, knowing what is happening at the state level, what is it that, what else are we 7 going to do to put it back into that a corporate structure or a corporate board or whatever the final governance structure couldn't do. So I think that's putting a date to get us there, I think is a good step, and I'm supportive of it. Should this not pass, I'm interested to see what the alternative is, and then at the end of all this, I also have something that's separate from that. But thank you.
Commissioner Edelson.
Madam Chair, we can move to a vote, and then I'm happy to go for the next amendment.
Okay, great. Shall we do a roll call vote? I think that would be most practical. Oh,
I mean, honestly, we could just do a voice vote. I think
okay.
Everybody stated their position.
All those in favor of Commissioner Edelson's first amendment, please say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
That does not prevail. 2 in favor and 5 opposed.
All right, don't go far because I have another one. Just going to let you know at the legislature I was kind of an amendment queen, so get ready for this.
I had to have you here then.
Okay.
Would you like to move it just to?
Yes, Madam Chair, or yes.
No, and I'll second it. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, I would like to move it. And for the public, I want to listen. Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't, but it's really important. We have open meeting laws. We can't really debate this behind closed doors, so we're debating it here. All right, so the second amendment I have, which might be more in line with maybe it's the happy middle ground, which was what I was thinking. All right, so what it says is, be it further resolved that the board directs the county administrator by January 13th, 2026, that's 4 months from now, to bring forward a proposal with the anticipated timeline for reestablishing the corporate board of Hennepin Healthcare System, Inc., and returning governance of Hennepin Healthcare System, Inc. to its reestablished board. So with that, what I'm thinking here, so first of all, when we say the board, Hennepin Healthcare or to the systems and corporate board, I'm referring to what the statute says about it, because we're not dissolving the corporation, right? Here we are dissolving the board. So the corporation, the public corporation still exists. So there's no way for us to talk about the HHS board or corporation or board when it's in statute right now. So we would have to dissolve that corporation if we want to have a different model. Now, maybe the consultant comes in and says, maybe we want a different model. Honestly, I would love us to look at how to improve that model. I think from what I've seen over the last year, it could be improved. So this is 4 months from now. The county administrator comes to us January 13th after the new year and says, here is our timeline for reestablishing the corporate board. And so with that, Madam Chair, I'm happy to hear from my colleagues.
Thank you. Discussion on Commissioner Edelson's second amendment. That's where we're at. Commissioner Conley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Edelson, this reads very similar to the previous revision. I respect and appreciate your commitment to reestablishing a board. And I want to be clear that I can't support this either. I don't want to put any dates in here that might handcuff what the transition team that the original bar establishes will be doing. There are measures in here that we heard who's going to be a part of it. We heard what they are tasked with doing. These resolving clauses are super important because this is outlining what is next to come. And for this transition team made up of incredible leaders to be held to a date for a board when we don't even know the date when we will be financially secure. We don't know if financial security as a hospital means layoffs, if it means clinic closures. I wasn't impressed with the report of the task force. So I need to know how we are going to stabilize this hospital first and foremost. I think that will come with a timeline. I think that this transition team will say to us, given what they learn based on current finances, based on the work of the hospital leadership, county administration, the consultant that comes in, it'll take us this long to get to financial stability. That's a date. You can bring that before the board. We can vote on that. We can also learn from that stability what the next what the next board might look like. That is secondary to me. So therefore, I think that, again, this original resolution as written specifies the exact steps very transparently of what we need to do. The only thing it doesn't have is a date for the corporate board, and I don't know that that is of urgency as much as doors staying open. Thank you.
Commissioner Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as I was previously verbalizing, I sort of had two concerns about the First Amendment. One is the specific deadline, and the other is the supposition or assumption that it's going to be a corporate board. And I really like what you've sculpted here with the deadline, that it says to bring forward a proposal with an anticipated timeline for ... So it's not in my mind, it gives the team and consultants enough time to assess the situation and then come up with their own timeline and make the recommendation through the county administrator. However, I'm still catching on the direction that it's about reestablishment of the corporate board, so I will remain a no.
Commissioner Gotell.
I have some of the similar concerns too, and I'm not as concerned as you are because of the whereas clauses that we already have in there, because we have the ability to direct whoever the transition team is to give us information in a timely manner when we think we deem it's necessary. But I don't want to hamstring these folks either. I think we need to provide the transition team with a good long time of area for what Commissioner Conley brought up, which is a stabilization of this health system. I think they will, if they're professionals, they're going to give us a timeline. We certainly can ask for a timeline when it's appropriate for them, but they may say we need to do these things first before we can even get there. And I'd like to hear that from them before I pass something like this. So I'm still not going to support this one, but thank you for bringing it forward.
Further discussion on the Second Amendment before going to vote? Go ahead, Commissioner Edelson.
Thank you. I would just say, for transparency, I think it's really important to establish a date. You can always move the goalpost. And so if we cannot establish a date, I cannot support the underlying amendment, even though I do believe that. So we have the votes. I would actually have supported the underlying bill had we at least set a date so that we could have moved the goalpost as we needed, but at least the public would have an idea of what we were thinking. We can both say that we want to financially stabilize the hospital and also that whatever the governance is going to look like, it needs to go back to the people. You can do both things at one time. But so I guess with that, Madam Chair, I still would like a vote on this, and we can just do a voice vote.
Okay, great. Thank you. We have Commissioner Edelson's Second Amendment before us. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. And that does not prevail with 2 in favor and 5 opposed. Commissioner Anderson, would you like to move your amendment?
I would like to move my amendment, which I'll pass out.
I will second it, and of course, please read it into the record. Thank you.
Thank you. My amendment was an additional resolving clause following the last resolving clause that would say, be it further resolved that the county board directs county administrator to present a report to the county board no later than July 31st, 2026, regarding steps taken since the passage of this resolution to ensure the financial stability of HHS, the then current status of HHS finances, operations, and any recommendations for additional needed actions to ensure the stability of HHS finances, operations, and governance in the future. That's what it says. The intent behind this is to add a point next summer to get a report back that can be publicly available, that consolidates the information and the work that we, as the HHS board, will have done through that time, provide a report of where the finances and the operational stability is for the hospital at that time, and then also provide kind of the update for the recommendations of where we go from there regarding both finances, operation, and potential governance changes. Without specifying a specific governance structure, but wanted to include this point in time to get a report back so that we can have kind of a time certain of saying, like, we are going to have this at that point to evaluate where we're at in a year from now, and then from that point move forward in whatever direction is most appropriate.
Discussion on the amendment. Commissioner Gotel.
So yeah, and you did show me this right at the beginning, so I really appreciate that, but I'm trying to think through this then. And I'm just thinking, it looks likely we have the votes to pass this today, so we will become the HHS board. And I'm just thinking the things that you're asking for are things that would be in a regular packet on a regular monthly basis, maybe even soon. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how do I reconcile why you would have this particular one when the county board would be the HHS board, and we would be expecting, as soon as absolutely possible, a bigger and better picture of the financial stability and some of the operations, some of the ways we're going to do, and what a bit of a timeline. Again, it goes back to the last whereas clause in here is giving them time to do this. This is similar, I see this. I'm not sure I'm on board with this yet.
If I could speak to that.
Anderson.
So part of the reason I expect that over the next 12 months, 11 months, we are going to be very busy.
Yes.
There is going to be a lot of things that we are going to be grappling with. This is providing direction to administration to give us a consolidated set of information of everything that we've done so that we can also provide that to the public. Our board packets are often very large and very complex and not always the most digestible for the public to read. This would provide, hopefully, the public and us a consolidated view of it. In the same way that we've had reports on our zero waste management plan and how we get information on for our work sessions. So I think that this is in the same vein as kind of bringing together work that has been done in the last year to give us an opportunity to discuss that and grapple with the entirety of the work in one spot. So.
Just following on that, first of all, I understand now you want that transparency, and I really like it, and I love the information that we get at board briefings and some of the summary tables and things like this. I suspect we'll get reports that have that. But right now, we haven't decided what will be transparent and what can and cannot, and what governs us under the bylaws of, competitive data. So I think this might be premature, is what I'm saying.
This doesn't.
Well, if you want
specify-
transparency.
Well, this doesn't specify what exactly needs to be in this, other than what is allowable for us to have for the public.
Let's have further discussion on the amendment. I appreciate the introduction and what you've said so far, Commissioner Gotel. Anything further before?
No, I'm not in support of this.
Thank you. Further discussion on this, Commissioner Conley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I still feel like this is jumping ahead a little bit of the process. A lot of information is financial, which is confidential. A lot of the reporting that county leadership, along with hospital leadership, are going to be presenting to us is going to be confidential. There's a lot we can't talk about because of the competitive nature, right, of hospitals, which I question that too. It's a public hospital. But most of the instability is financial. There are details we just can't discuss nor share with the public. So there's going to be a lack of transparency for some things, but not everything, right? I want to give this team the ability to get to work, and so I don't want to jump ahead of that. And I still feel like I appreciate what you want to see here. It's fleshed out. I just don't. I feel like it's jumping ahead further than today. It's something that I think will come with regular reporting because we'll have to meet. We will be very, very busy. But given the dire situation that we're in right now, which we all agree, I don't want to jump ahead of what's in the original bar, because I think this is like the bones, the glue that is moving us forward. And that's exactly where we need to go. Everything that is outlined in the additional resolution that you've presented, Commissioner, makes sense to me later, just not now. I do still believe that this is jumping ahead, and I want to give the transition team the ability to do the work that they need to talk about needed action, determine what those are, the stability of finances, which aren't always public, operations, and future governance. I don't feel comfortable putting dates on that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Further discussion, Commissioner Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioner Anderson, for the thinking that's gone into this. It sounds like you're hearing similar things that as I'm hearing from some of my constituents and other stakeholders. I view your proposal actually as quite complementary to the original bar as written. As to the specifics of reporting, like that my constituents and other stakeholders that I've spoken to would really appreciate that. And it feels somewhat arbitrary, but also let's give people a date by which they know they're going to learn something. We don't know what they're going to learn because we don't know what we're going to learn. I'm going to sort of one-up you on something that you said, which is board packets are large and complex, not easy for the public to read. I'll add to that, they're not always predictable to residents and outside stakeholders, and this gives some predictability. Like, we will get back to you by this date. To the confidentiality of the material covered, that to me is actually a reason to support this, because the county in this way can report to other partners, stakeholders, workers, and residents whatever it can report. But at least we're going to be getting back to people by a certain date. So I'm voting to support this amendment.
Commissioner Adelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll be supporting this as well. I think the last sentence is really important, where it says, any recommendations for additional needed actions to ensure stability of HHS finances, operations, and governance in the future. I think we're all talking about it. Many of us have mentioned what the governance will look like. And I think having, again, a timeline, just something that we can put out to the public to say, this is what we're looking at, here's what we're finding. I agree with you that the committee hearings and the committee, these go fast. A lot of our boards are really it's dense, it's hard to read, but if it's a report, I think it would be very helpful. So very supportive.
Thank you. Further discussion. I will not be supporting this amendment today. This is really far from now, and as being a member of the HHS board for many years, this is going to be a very activated, heavy lift. We are going to be doing lots of stuff every single day, literally every day, certainly every week, and monthly in service to HHS's mission. So I support the original language. I look forward to this board or the HHS board, should the item prevail ultimately, who's made up of the same members, to what we would come up with. You know, we can make meetings fully public if we wanted. We could publish financial information if we wish to. So I won't be supporting the amendment, and I do appreciate the amendments that were offered today. Further discussion on Commissioner Anderson's amendment? Hearing and seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
And that does not prevail with, oh, did you say aye or nay? Oh, great, that does prevail then. Great. Secret over here. Okay. He didn't speak, I couldn't hear it. So that does prevail, 4 in favor and 3 opposed. So this amendment prevails as a new 6th resolving clause.
Correct.
So I gotta do roll call vote sometimes. So thank you, everybody. So now, before any other amendments, colleagues, any other amendments? Okay, so we are back. We have 11A as amended before us. I'm looking at clerk and administration and council to make sure people understand what is before us. Does everybody feel good? Go ahead.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, Ben Schweiger from the County Attorney's Office. Just to clarify whether the new resolving clause is coming in after the 5th
After the 5th,
or
so it would
after
be
the
a new
6th.
It would be after the.
It'll be the new
5th,
6th.
So it would be the new 6th, and then the final would still be the remaining.
Madam
Chair, Commissioners, there's 6 currently?
It'll be the new 6, and so the former 6 would be the 7th clause.
Very good, thank you.
So it'll come in between
Yep.
what was published in between the 5th and 6th resolving clauses. So just for the record, the 5th clause resolving clause would be maintained. County Board directs County Administrator to prepare recommendations regarding any necessary transition plan, et cetera, et cetera. And then the amendment that prevailed, and then the last clause being the County Board will hold a special meeting to discuss. Everybody good? Okay, we have item 11A before us as amended. Are we further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all is in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. The item prevails 6 in favor and 1 opposed. Moving forward on the agenda, item 12 is old business. These are items that would have been seen by this board previously and laid over today, for which we have none. And 13 is immediate approvals, for which we have 2. 13A is to award a contract to Nor Construction GBC for the Medina roof replacement project with a not to exceed of just under $7.5 million. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioners Anderson and Conley. Ms. Wetland.
Chair Fernando, Commissioners, consistent with the county purchasing rules, this contract award is coming in for immediate approval after a best value purchasing process. The contract is to replace the 28-year-old roof on the Public Works facility located in Medina. Jonathan Holmes from Facility Services is here to present this matter.
Welcome. Ooh.
Good afternoon, Chair Fernando, Commissioners. This is a bar for the new roof project at Medina Public Works. It's almost a 30-year-old roof, and it's time to replace it to stop some of the leaks we have there. So happy to answer any other questions you have on it.
Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 13B is to negotiate agreement with Dakota County CDA to be the fiscal agent of the Twin Cities Fair Housing Implementation Council. The period is July 1, 2025 to June 30, 2029, with a not to exceed of $50K. I will move it. May I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Green seconds. Ms. Wetland.
Chair Fernando, Commissioners, Julie Welliers is available and can provide background.
Welcome.
Chair Fernando, Commissioners, Julia Welliers from Housing and Economic Development. Hennepin County and other metropolitan jurisdictions established the Fair Housing Implementation Council in 2002 in order to take a regional approach to addressing barriers to fair housing. Together, the council undertakes regional analyses of impediments to fair housing. We develop action plans for enforcement, education, and outreach, and then we monitor trends and impacts. So this action simply continues Hennepin County's participation in the council for the next 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I believe that is the conclusion of today's agenda. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioners Green and Anderson, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. So we have, if people want to do a little break, we have rail.
Chair.
Rail, but I know that there's some people. And then we have the HHS board meeting right afterwards on 8:23.
How about we take a break after break?
I think that would be nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. And you're ready to proceed whenever you're ready. Yeah. Just giving us our schedule.
No, I thank you for mentioning.
It should be fast, yeah. I was just naming our remaining steps today. I think when in doubt, I'm just naming what's happening.
Just move the whole thing in one. Yeah. Move the agenda and the minutes, and then declare us adjourned.
Are we ready? Timing, all right. All right, ready? I'll help.
Good afternoon. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Hennepin County Regional Rail Authority. Today's Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda and the minutes from July 29th, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That item is passed. We have no new agenda items. We are adjourned. It's longer, right?
I don't know.
No, hospital meetings are gonna be like that.